Hi, it's Paul and welcome to another guitar review video. This time we're going to be reviewing the Fender Acoustasonic Player Series Telecaster in this lovely, I'm not sure what colour it is, sort of brown. The video is going to be split into two parts really. I'll talk you through this guitar in particular, talk you through some of the features of it, try and put it in context of the other Acoustasonic guitars in the Fender range, and then we'll plug it in and we'll give it a go and see what sort of tones we can get out of it. So, but before we do that, I thought I might address the question that many of you may have, is like, why would you need one of these strange looking things in your life? After all, it isn't a telly and it isn't an acoustic, but can it do both? And I think the simple answer to that question is yes, it can, but, and we'll come on to the buts as we go through. I have this guitar in my collection because I'm a gigging musician and I need to, in the bands that I play in, be able to play acoustic songs and electric songs in the same set. Sometimes the same song has both parts in and I need to be able to do both. And while I'd love to be able to take half a dozen guitars to a gig, the realities are that when you're playing in a small pub in England, there just isn't room. And in fact, there's barely enough room for one guitar. So having a couple of guitars is great. And this guitar enables you to play really nice sounding acoustic tracks and do some electric stuff if you need it. And I think probably I would still, in fact I do still take an electric guitar to the gigs to play most of the electric guitar stuff on, but I know that if I have a problem with my electric, that I can switch to this and I can get by. And that's kind of where it sits for me. That may be different for you. You may be thinking of this as being an instead of for an acoustic. You may be thinking of it as being an instead of for an electric if you're an acoustic guitar player. You may be thinking that it could be your only guitar. Those decisions are entirely up to you. I'm lucky enough that I can have an acoustic and plenty of electrics, but this does fill a space, and it's up to you to decide whether or not this sort of guitar can fill a space for you. So anyway, let's talk about the Acoustasonic Telecaster range, because there are now 3 different Telecasters in Fender's range. There's an American Telecaster which costs about £1,500 in the UK. There's this one, the Player, which is made in Mexico, and this costs about £1,000. And then there is the Standard, which costs about £500 and is made in the Far East somewhere. I can't recall exactly where. They're all slightly different, but they all share a lot of common features, and I'll try as we're going through to explain where those common features lay and where some of the differences lay. So let's have a look at this particular guitar then. So this is a Tele. It's very Tele shape, isn't it? With the exception of this slightly odd hole in the middle. Let's start at the top here. So the headstock, it's got a really cool, actually, engraved Fender logo on it, which you don't see anywhere else as far as I'm aware. Typical Tele headstock design, and on the back you've got just some classic Fender tuning keys, and they're really good actually. I have no issues with them. They're not locking, but I've had no issues with them with tuning stability. They're set on a mahogany neck with a rosewood board, and the neck carve is, I think, what Fender call their deep C carve. It's not anywhere near fat, but it's not sort of Ibanez skinny either. If you've played one of the modern Fender necks, like on the Fender Pro series or some of the Squires, it's like one of those. It just feels really comfortable. It's not too big, it's not too small, and Yeah, it feels great. The fretboard radius is a 12-inch radius, so it's not super flat by any stretch, but it's certainly not one of those 7¼ inch ones where you end up choking out some notes if it's not set up properly. So yeah, it's really nice. Fretwork is really good. You know, the fret edges are slightly rolled. The frets themselves are nice. They're not sprouting at all. So yeah, it's really well put together piece of kit. The finish is really interesting. It's a matte finish, and it's almost like open pore. It's very sort of satin. It just feels great. It's not glossy or sticky in any way. It's just a really nice finish. And that finish continues across the whole guitar. Now, while we're looking at the back, let's have a look at what's on it. So you have a really quite well designed heel joint here, slightly curved here. Inlaid plates, and two compartments on the back here. This one is obviously where all of your volume controls, etc. live, and this one is where your 9-volt battery lives. So to access the 9-volt battery, you just press this little thing here, and there's a little ribbon which just allows you to pop the 9-volt battery out. There it is, and when you want to change it, you pop it in and close it up, and that's it. This is where one of the first big differences comes between the Mexican and I think also the standard and the American. The American one has a rechargeable battery in it, which you have to plug in the guitar to charge. So you can't remove it, you have to plug in the guitar to a USB cable to charge it, which I think is a really, I don't think it's a very practical solution, honestly. If you're unfortunate enough to run out of battery halfway through a gig, you can flip that battery and put another one in seconds. You can't charge it up. You can't charge the American one up in seconds, and telling your audience that you can't play any more songs for an hour while you charge your guitar probably isn't going to cut it. So definitely go for this one, in my opinion. I use a 9-volt rechargeable in here. You can use standard 9-volt battery. Obviously you want to charge it or put a new one in before you go on stage. They last about 20+ hours though, so you shouldn't have any issues. I would say though, they're active and are drained when you plug them in. So if you don't want to drain the battery, unplug it. So looking at the front of the guitar, actually let's go back to the back. The back of the guitar and the main body of the guitar are made from mahogany. I believe it's a solid piece of mahogany which is then CNC routed out to make it hollow, because it is hollow. And then what they do is they inlay a piece of Sitka spruce into the top. Which is how you get this really cool effect here, and it's really nice. I mean, the design is amazing. You then got this kind of slightly weird, they call it a waterfall hole here, because it sort of curves in. I'm not quite sure why it does that. I guess it gives it some strength, but it's pretty cool. You've got one jack outlet, and obviously your strap buttons. Talking about the pickup configuration then, on the Player series, this one, you've got two pickups. You've got an under-saddle piezo pickup, which is made by Fishman, and then you've got this Shaw-designed noiseless single coil Tele type pickup here. On the American models, you've got a third pickup, which is a body sensor, which obviously allows you to combine the vibrations being picked up in the body, including this kind of stuff, if that's what you want to do. And on the standard version, it doesn't have the single coil, it has a Shaw humbucker in here. That's a big black thing. But aside from that, I think they're pretty much the same. The guitar came with 11 to 52 strings. They're acoustic guitar strings, so they have a wound G. I've swapped those for a 10 to 47 set because I felt the strings were a bit heavy, especially on the electric guitar side. I've still got the wound G. They're still acoustic strings, and they sound great acoustically, and electrically they sound pretty decent as well. They are not as easy to play as a conventional set of electric strings because the wound G is harder to bend, and the tension just feels quite a lot stronger actually. You can restring them with electric strings. I wouldn't go below 10s. There is a dual action truss rod. I believe it's a dual action truss rod there, and there's also a micro tilt in here, which allows you to make some fine tuning of the action, which I've done actually because I felt the action was a bit high on this. It's okay now. So that's essentially the design with the pickups. So the controls, then you've got a three-way switch, and you've got these two knobs here. The three-way switch allows you to switch between the three sort of tone banks, for want of a better phrase. You've got piezo sounds with the cool Fishman modeling, acoustic modeling technology built in. You've got the piezo pickup kind of on its own, unadulterated, and you've got the Tele pickup here, so the electric pickup. And this control here, where you would normally have a tone control, is what they call a blend control, and it allows you to blend between two different modes in each one of these settings, and I'll say something about that when we do the tones. And this is actually a volume control, and that's it. This particular one is in great condition. It's been gigged. And it's in really great condition, and they come with a fantastic gig bag. I should say that actually, the gig bag that comes with these is the best gig bag I've ever used. It's a Fender gig bag, and it's a hard shell type gig bag. So it's not one of those ones where you hold them in your hand and it sort of flops down each side. It actually it's you literally hold it and it remains rigid. It's really good, and I think they cost about almost £100 new, those gig bags on their own, which I think is actually I might get another one. Anyway, I digress. Let's plug it in and have a look at some tones. Okay, welcome back. So now let's have a listen to some tones that we can get out of this thing, and there are quite a few. So before we go there, then let's just talk about the signal path. So to start with, coming straight out of the guitar into my Helix, and straight out of the Helix with nothing on it whatsoever into my studio monitors behind me. So you're hearing the studio monitor output into the GoPro. As we go through, I'll turn on a few different things on the Helix so you can hear how you can shape the tone. So what this is trying to emulate is what would happen if you plug this into a recording interface, for example, or for me, I guess if you're going to use this out and about, then into the desk or into the PA, so which is how you would normally run it. You certainly would probably not want to put this guitar through an electric guitar amp, especially if you were going to run it as an acoustic. So that's why modelers are great, actually, because you can switch between. So this is the first position here, which I guess would normally be position 3 on a, if you're looking at it from a sort of conventional switching position thing on a Tele or a Strat. This is your piezo pickup system here with the Fishman electronics, which emulate an acoustic guitar sound. So this is supposed to emulate a mic'd up acoustic guitar. Remember, it's got no effects on it at all, no processing whatsoever. pretty cool. I mean, as an acoustic guitar tone, that is really usable straight out of the box. Don't have to do anything to that. You can, with the blend knob, change from this model, which is a slightly toppier acoustic guitar. I think it's a small body guitar, I can't remember the exact one. You can turn it all the way to the other end and get a more dreadnoughty type sound. It's got a slightly beefier bottom end, which you might not catch if you're listening to this on a phone, but you'll have to take my word for it. Designed a bit more for strumming, I guess. And then what this blend knob allows you to do, of course, is blend those two tones together. So at one end you get this guitar on its own, the other end you get the other guitar on its own, and then anything in between is a blend of the two. Which is kind of nice. Of course, you can do all sorts of things to this tone. So you could, for example, put some reverb on, and a little bit of compression, and then a bit of an EQ. Put some chorus on there if you feel the urge. Or some crazy Anyway, let's turn some of that off. I'll leave the reverb, the compressor, and actually no, wait, I'll leave everything off apart from the whole reverb. So moving to the center position, you've got a much more raw piezo sound. So there's no sort of processing really going on beyond what's coming out of these piezo, this piezo pickup. Is a little bit brighter, slightly more brittle. It's classic sort of piezo tone that you would get if you plugged in an acoustic guitar, conventional acoustic guitar with a piezo pickup. And some people love that tone, and some people think it sounds horrible, which is why people mic up acoustics, of course. If you've got something like a Helix or a Quad Cortex or something along those lines, you can stick an impulse response on that and it can magically transform it. And yeah, I mean, you can an eminently usable tone as well, so there's options for you there too. Slightly more bizarre though is when you turn the blend knob all the way to the other side, you get this kind of lo-fi distorted piezo sound. And I'm not really sure when you'd want to use that. it's just not the greatest tone in the world. I'm not a big fan of that tone. But there you go, it's there if you need it. The final position is the Tele pickup on its own. So I'll get a pick. So this is, all this has got on is some hall reverb, and just a little bit. Sounds pretty electric guitar-y, doesn't it? I'm not sure it sounds massively like my Tele, but it sounds pretty good. And if you put a bit of compression and EQ on that, yeah, I mean it's very usable, very usable. But the nice thing about this, of course, is you can now pop an amp in the chain. I've got a Friedman amp here, a brown eye with a tiny bit of grit on it. That sounds a bit more convincing, doesn't it? You could get away with that. And you know, why not go the whole hog and stick a tube screamer in there as well. Very definitely usable. Again, when you move the blend knob all the way to the other side, what it does is it puts a bit of inbuilt overdrive into the Tele clean tone. So that's without it. Turn it all the way up. I think it just gets a little bit muddy, but you can back that off a bit. If it was me, I prefer to keep it clean and then put the grit on via the helix rather than use this. But if you didn't have anything else, and I have done this actually I took this to an open mic once, and I was busy playing some acoustic stuff, and then someone said, oh, let's do Sweet Home Alabama. So I literally flicked this to the Tele position, turned a bit of grit on, and kind of did the whole, you know, whatever it is. I can't remember to play it out. through the song, and you know, if I'd have just had an acoustic, I would have been royally screwed. Anyway, so look, this is I think it's a great tone, and you can do all sorts of cool stuff. Obviously, you can affect this to your heart's content. So as a hybrid guitar, as a guitar that can be an electric and an acoustic, I think it definitely has a place. And I think if you're a giggy musician and you are playing covers, having a guitar which can play acoustic and electric in the same song is really powerful. And if you pair it to something like a modeler, where you can turn off amps, turn on amps, turn off on and off effects, literally with the press of one button, move from one snapshot to another, it's really, really powerful, and that's how I use it. I literally have a bunch of presets set for my electric guitar, a bunch of presets set for this one. I have them both plugged into the Helix through different inputs, and I can literally pick one up, put one down, and it's fantastic. A lot of flexibility, and I've got through many gigs like that. So look, if you've got any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments, and yeah, I would recommend these. These are good fun. Cheers.